Harrison Wheeler, and you are listening to Technically Speaking, a podcast about the human experience. The show focuses on BIPOC designers, entrepreneurs, and technologists sharing their unique stories of triumph and resilience. This season is really special. It was recorded live during San Francisco Design Week in June. During that week, there were 11 guests over 5 days. We had a discussion over a range of topics from Clubhouse, mental health, identity, activism, and its intersection with product design. I'll give you a little bit of a preview of the conversation that I had with Bell and Alyssa Hart, founders of Take Care, a 30-day listening experience that focused on mental wellness.
And if I've learned anything from working with Alyssa on Take Care, it is that just because I took away the corporate or the startup, I can still operate from that same go, go, go. And I'm one of those people, I'm in recovery 5 years from both drugs and alcohol. I actually can't afford, I'm talking survival. I cannot afford to work like that. And I've done it even to myself as my own boss with Alyssa. And if that teaches me anything, it's that once the conditioning is there, if we looked at like the neural pathways in my brain, we would probably see that I'm gonna keep doing that until I interrupt it. And the only thing that interrupted it about Take Care was Alyssa, my business partner and friend and soul sister. Because when you actually take away all the trappings of like, I was in sales, you're competing with other people. When it's just you and another human being, that other human being, if they care about you, is gonna say, hey, I think you should go for a walk. Hey, let's put our computers away. Hey, do you really wanna work like this? And I think that in and of itself has completely shifted my behavior.
I also had an opportunity to catch up with Jacob Fernandez, senior designer on the trust team at LinkedIn. Here's what he had to say about the power of transformation.
My work and in my relationship to others is so foundational to how I can continue to be the kind of designer that I know that I am and that I can bring into the world. And it's about going on that journey with myself and being humble, staying very humble, and unlearning the patterns in which I code individuals, or I like to stay with my assumptions, or I like to say, but I just want to design this thing in this way because it makes sense to me. Right. But I haven't really considered maybe these other perspectives just yet. And it helps me stay humble in saying, hey, like, okay, there's something there. Let me question that. And let me be curious, open, constructive dialogue with my colleagues, with the people in which we're designing with and through my managers, through leadership, and to say that my transformation and my liberation means your transformation and your liberation. It's our collective transformation.
I also had the pleasure of having Maurice Cherry as a guest on the show. He's the founder and host of the Revision Path podcast, which focuses on Black designers around the world. He recorded more than 400 episodes, and we discussed a little bit about his motivations and why he started it.
I wanted to start it because I knew that there were other Black designers and such out there, like peers of mine, contemporaries, etc., that were doing really great work that were just not getting any sort of recognition. I mean, the web back then, and this is pre-Twitter, pre-social media, there was not really a lot of ways for your work to be seen unless it was through a larger entity like a design organization or a design company or a magazine or something like that.
Right.
And so because that sort of avenue to get these stories out there didn't really exist in a way that people could latch on to it, a lot of people's work just kind of went by the wayside. It's been so interesting now to talk to people who were designing back then and then be able to bring them now to the present and share the work that they've done during that time when nobody may have really paid attention to it. And when I say nobody, I don't mean they were sort of languishing in obscurity. I mean that the general design community did not know that this person was doing this caliber of work or this level of work. And we're talking CDs, websites, logos, etc. For example, episode 400, with Brent Rollins. Brent Rollins did the logo for Mo Better Blues. He did the logo for Poetic Justice. He did the logo for Boys in the Hood. Would we have really known that unless, and I'm not saying through my interview specifically, but during the time that he was making all this prolific stuff, the design industry was not, he wasn't getting an AIGA medal.
Right.
He wasn't being featured in, Design Eye or Step Magazine or anything like that. So just getting a chance to kind of bring these people into the limelight and let them have a chance to show off their work was a big reason why I wanted to do Revision Path, is to give them an opportunity to say, this is who I am, this is what I do, and this is why it matters to me, because that perspective really had not been shared widely prior to that.
All the guests that you'll have an opportunity to hear from this season include Mathew Barnes, Julia Fernandez, Jacob Hernandez, from the Take Care crew, Alyssa Hart and Mercy Bell, and from the UX Research Corner crew, Aladrian Goods, Anj Cheng, Nannearl Brown, Anna Kuforiji, and Priyanka Mohan. A big shout out goes to the San Francisco Design Week crew for allowing this to happen. This was a huge undertaking and a first. Also, shout out to Dave Clark, the producer on the show, and Studio Pod. And finally, I'd like to thank our sponsor, Automatic, the folks behind WordPress.com, WooCommerce, Tumblr, and Jetpack. They're constantly striving to design a better web, and we could not be more excited to have them on board as a sponsor for the next 2 seasons. You can find out more about them at automatic.com. That's AUTOMATTIC.com. If you haven't already, be sure to hit the subscribe button. A new episode will drop every Tuesday. Also, if you haven't already, be sure to give us a follow on the web. You can find us at Technically Speaking HW on Instagram, LinkedIn, Substack, and at our URL, technicallyspeakinghw.com. Well, that's it for now. Can't wait for you to take a listen to the next season. See you soon.